Welcome to InstaOwl's classes. We at InstaOwl believe in democratizing education for one and for all. Welcome, students. Let's continue studying the making of a global world. Now, we're going to see the global impact of the First World War. The war's primary battleground? The First World War started in 1914 and lasted up till 1918. It was predominantly fought in Europe. Global consequences: the war's impact was felt worldwide, influencing global events significantly. Let's see the prolonged crisis during the 4 years of war. The first half of the 20th century was marked by a crisis stemming from the war, lasting over 3 decades. Economic and political instability. Now, because the war happened in most of the regions of Europe, it was between the Allied and the Axis powers, you can see that there's a lot of instability when it came to money, that is economics, and polity. Why? Because the European powers of that time were the superpowers who would control the trade. The period saw widespread economic difficulties and political unrest across the globe. Prelude to another war, the instability eventually led to the outbreak of a second catastrophic conflict, that is the World War II. Let's see the global conflict. World War I involved allies Britain, France, Russia, and later United States versus the Central Powers Germany, Austria-Hungary, and Ottoman Turkey. Expected to be short but lasted over 4 years. Let's see the transformations during the World War. Modern industrial warfare. First war using advanced industrial weapons like machine guns, tanks, and chemical weapons, marked by large-scale industrial production of arms. The massive human cost: 9 million dead, 20 million injured, and mostly working-age men. The workforce reduction led to lower household incomes in Europe. So most of the people who went out to work would die, or who would go out to the army would also die. That is why it reduced the household incomes in all of Europe. Let's see the industrial and social restructuring. Industries shifted to war production. Women took over jobs traditionally held by men. Why? Because the men were all shifted to the army or to the battlegrounds. That is why. Let's see the economic shifts. Severed economic links between major powers. Britain's borrowing from the US shifted the US from debtor to global creditor. So you can see that these superpowers were firstly creditor. They used to give money. But now economic shifts are happening between the countries themselves. So some have been a debtor, now they became a creditor. Some have been creditors, now they become loss or they become debtors. Please look at the screen. This is an illustration of workers in a munition factory during the First World War, producing armaments rapidly to meet the war demands. Now, let's see post-war economic recovery. Britain's struggle for recovery. Britain, once the world's leading economy, faced a prolonged post-war crisis. Why? Because he lost a lot of money in the war. During the war, industries in India and Japan grew, challenging Britain's dominance in international markets. Britain was burdened with huge external debts due to borrowing from the US, that is the United States of America, to finance the World War. End of the war boom. The war caused a temporary economic boom with increased demand, production, and employment. So during those times of war, there was an increased demand of instruments, increased demand of shoes, increased demands of leather. But this was for a very temporary period. Post-war, production contracted, unemployment rose, and the government reduced war expenditures. By 1921, 1 in 5 British workers was unemployed, leading to widespread anxiety and uncertainty about work. Let's see the agricultural crisis. Wheat production in Canada, America, and Australia expanded during the war as Eastern Europe's supply was disrupted. So now you can see that Europe has been disrupted. So the Americas, that is America, Canada, and Australia, are taking over. After the war, Eastern Europe's wheat production revived, leading to a surplus and a drop in grain prices. Now, Eastern Europe means the Europe which was not actively part of the World War. Declining rural incomes and falling grain prices left farmers in deep debt. Let's see the post-war economic recovery. The US economy quickly rebounded after a brief post-war downturn. Strong economic growth resumed in the early 1920s. We can see US recovering fast because US was equipped industrially. US had become a creditor. He was sending out money. He had a lot of money to give. He had a lot of arms and ammunition factory which was increasing. Industry was increasing, which that is why economy could actually recover very fast in the US. Mass production and consumer growth. Rise of mass production. Mass production became a defining feature of the US industry in the 90s, 20s. Mass production means producing at a very large scale. Henry Ford pioneered the use of the assembly line in car manufacturing. In car manufacturing, it was first done by Henry Ford, who started with an assembly line. An assembly line is a type of working in an industry where the car gets assembled one behind the other in a line. This is called an assembly line in a factory. The assembly line increased output by speeding up work, leading to the mass production of the T model Ford. Let's see the impact on workers. The fast pace of assembly line work caused stress, leading many workers to quit their job. To retain workers, Ford doubled daily wages to $5 while banning trade unions. Ford described the wage increase as his best cost-cutting decision due to increased productivity. Let's see the spread of Fordism. Fordist practices spread across the US and Europe, lowering costs and prices of goods. Higher wages allowed more workers to purchase consumer goods like cars, refrigerators, and radios. Consumer goods were often bought to credit through higher purchase systems. So now we can see the different trend, like how Henry Ford started increasing the daily wage salary. That is how people started gaining a lot of money, higher wages, and then they could also buy consumer goods like cars, refrigerators, and radios. Let's see the economic boom. The 1920s saw a boom in housing construction and home ownership, fueling demands for household goods. This created a cycle of higher employment, incomes, and higher consumption. So we can see that economic growth has been increasing because of this kind of changes in the economic employment. Let's see US as a global lender. That's why the US has become a creditor. By 1923, the US became the largest overseas lender, exporting capital and boosting global recovery. US capital exports and imports contributed to European recovery and the world trade growth. So it was the United States of America who actually helped the economy of Europe to come back. End of the boom. Despite the prosperity of the 1920s, the boom ended with the onset of one event known as the Great Depression of 1929. This is an illustration of T-model automobiles lined up outside the Ford factory. Let's see the impact of the Great Depression from 1929 to 1930s. Let's see the overview of the Great Depression. It began around 1929 and lasted until the mid-1930s. Global decline in production, employment, incomes, and trade. Now, what is the meaning of the Great Depression? Please understand, depression means a dip. And when there is a dip, this dip is in economy. Dip came, if your economy is running at this level, there has been a dip. And this came because of the rise of unemployment. There was no job. There was not agricultural growth. There was not any kind of industrial productivity. And this depression led to many people losing their jobs. And this was not in one area. This almost was affecting most of the countries worldwide. Global decline in production, what we see, employment, income, and trade. Agricultural regions were the hardest hit due to prolonged price drops. What are the causes of this depression? Firstly, agricultural overproduction. Falling agricultural prices led farmers to increase their production, worsening the market glut and further dropping prices. So this was a cycle of poverty, a cycle of debt which they started. They started increasing production because the prices were falling. And because the prices were falling, nobody would go and actually start producing more of these because they would not get that return from the market. And that is why this led to a lot of depreciation and an increased or a decrease in productive activity of agriculture. Second, we can see is that dependence on the United States of America for money, for loans. Many countries relied on US loans in the 1920s. When US lenders withdrew, it caused a global financial crisis. So now, because the depression hit even USA started withdrawing all the money back to its country. And that is why many people who had taken money from US had begun a financial crisis. Let's see the impact on global economy in Europe: bank failure and currency collapses, including the British pound sterling. These were very strong currencies, but because of the Great Depression, they also lost their value. Latin America and others: intensified slump in agriculture and raw material prices. Because nobody was going to buy them, the prices started falling. US response: it increased import duties, worsening global trade. What does it mean, increase import duties? They started taxing imports higher. And that is why nobody was willing to trade. And that is why it actually hampered the global trade. Let's see effects in the United States. Severe industrial decline, collapse of farms, businesses, and banks. Over 4,000 banks collapsed and closed by 1933. Consumer collapse. Households lost homes, cars, and consumer goods. Unemployment soared. So if trade was not happening, if employment was not happening, everything led to unemployment and no income. Banking system failure. Thousands of banks went bankrupt. Bankrupt is a situation where the banks declare that they have no money, unable to recover investments or repay depositors. Let's see the aftermath of the Depression. By 1935, modest recovery in most industrial countries was seen. The Depression's effects on society, politics, and international relations were long-lasting. Let's see Instabites. Iconic photograph of the Great Depression. In 1936, Dorothea Lange photographed a struggling migrant family. Homeless mother, age 32, with 7 children. Family survived on frozen vegetables and hunted birds. The mother allowed the photo, hoping it might bring some help. The image symbolizes the hardships that everybody faced during the Great Depression. An illustration of a migrant agricultural worker's family, homeless and hungry, during the Great Depression in 1936. Let's see Indian struggles during the Great Depression. Global integration and impact. The Great Depression highlighted the deep integration of the global economy. So now what we are seeing over here is that even if the Great Depression did start in the European countries, we can see that its impact lasted all through Africa, all through Europe and Asia, and finally India. Economic crisis in one part of the world quickly affected other regions, including India. What were the effects on the Indian trade? India's exports and imports nearly halved between 28 and 34. That was only 6 years. Our trade fell down more than 50%. International price crashes led to a 50% drop in wheat prices in India during the same period. Let's see the agriculture sector hardships. Peasants and farmers suffered the most. Why? Because these are primary sectors, agricultural sectors. So they suffered the most, with sharp declines in agricultural prices. The colonial government did not reduce revenue demands, worsening the plight of farmers. So even if the Britishers, the colonial government is the British people or the British officials, they knew that India was going through a lot of deficit, a lot of hardships in agriculture. Still, they did not reduce their revenue demands. This worsened the troubles or the plight of the farmers. Let's see the case study of jute producers in Bengal. Jute prices fell by more than 60% as the exports collapsed. There were no exports. Peasants fell deeper into debt, mortgaging land and selling assets to survive. So what would the peasants do? If jute was not being exported, jute was not being sold, they would take money from money lenders and then start a cycle of poverty. Let's see the increased indebtedness and gold exports. Peasant indebtedness rose. Like I told you, they had to borrow money, leading to increased exports of precious metals, particularly gold. Indian gold exports were thought to aid global economic recovery, especially benefiting only Britain. Let's see the urban India during Depression. Urban areas fared better due to falling prices, benefiting those with fixed incomes. Industrial investment grew as the government extended tariff protection to industries under nationalist pressure. So we can see, yes, that there was some kind of growth in the industrial sector. Yes, we have seen that the civil disobedience movement started during this time, during the 1930s. The economic hardship in rural India contributed to the unrest that fueled Mahatma Gandhi's civil disobedience movement in 1931. Let's revise what we've done in this part. We have seen that the world during World War I, the 4 years, there was a lot of disruption in Europe, which also affected other parts of the globe. Economic recovery, yes, after that, we needed to have some kind of economic recovery. And this is the time when the United States of America steps in by lending money to the European country. We have seen mass production and consumer growth. Yes, there has been an increase in production. We have seen the case study of Henry Ford. Then comes the depression. Depression started in 1929, and the depression led to a lot of economic and financial hardships for the whole world. Indian struggles during the Great Depression. India was struggling financially because we had British India over us, and we were also struggling from the rural areas in India. That is why we see that Mahatma Gandhi's movement of civil disobedience was helped because peasants joined this movement in 1931. I hope, students, you have understood this part of the chapter. Please keep watching InstaOL's next video on the same chapter. Thank you.